region is full of people under the influence. And he says, change, I'll not get clean if people are about like that, because it's also a weird thing as well, that psychology, that when people are coming away from drug use and trying to get clean, their immediate peer group, this individual has told me that he's never been offered so many free drugs in all his life, and it's this perception that when somebody's going clean, like, so if you're going clean and I'm still using but we're friends, I'll offer you free to get you back down to here, because it's almost like the psychology of you're getting better and getting clean and improving your life, and I'm still here using, addicted to this stuff, let's get you back here. Or it's another psychology element of, do you think you're better than us because you're now away trying to get a job and all that? So it's a very catty, bitchy type of manipulative kind of world as well, to bring people back in. So John's saying, one, his GP's trying to keep him within methadone and set use. His peer group, if you like, that we're still using, are trying to bring him back into drug use. So there's a lot of these factors that pull on an individual and affect the mindset. And you're talking, if this is your peer group that you're using drugs with, then they're also your friends. And if they're kind of shunning you because you want to get better, that's isolating you. So you almost have to then create a new group of friends. Now, as an adult, well, low self-esteem and addictions and all these other kind of problems, that's a very, very difficult thing to do. So, yeah.
I mean, basically, Street Soccer is creating a new group of friends to pull people who want to change out of their bad
environment, better choices, more positive mindset, more optimism, more. So again, that's part of the security of this group, that you know you can't come here under the influence of drug or alcohol. So it also even could provide an excuse that if a drop-in day is there today and you're sitting in the morning in some house or wherever you are and somebody does offer something, then you can use football as a legitimate excuse to say, oh no, I can't, I want to get into football this afternoon. So in the sense, it's almost an escape or a get out of jail free card, because you're less likely to be pulled up and get into an argument with somebody because you're wanting to go to football than you are to just say no. So just saying no isn't as simple.
So players have arguments with friends when they don't use drugs?
From certain things I've heard. I wouldn't say, obviously I don't know the personal lives of all these players, but when you sit and work with certain people, you get insight to lifestyles, if you like. So their comments and their sharing of their story provides you that insight and gives you a wee bit more. That's how listening is such a strong skill. It's not about talking at somebody for a long time. It's also having the opportunity to really dig and get. So listen to one problem that they might be telling you, but that might not be the problem. So you kind of need to, but how do you get here? Right, so you need to dig a wee bit more. So what's this? And it's not that we're prying in, but to help somebody fully, you need to have you can't tell what the picture is if you can only see a few bits. So if the more of a picture you can see, the more accurate and relevant support you can give somebody as well. But certain players, particularly in our youth programme, so for example, we set up youth programmes much like I did in sports development. We set them up on hotspot times. So Friday night, there's a lot of vandalism, there's youth annoyance calls that go up in a set area. Right, is there a venue where we can put football drop-in on?
So you do specifically Friday evening football sessions?
Yes, we have one in Whitfield and Dundee. So on a Friday night between hours 6 and 9 o'clock, we've got a drop-in happening. And we do it up to 9 o'clock intentionally, because one, it's a hotspot area. Two, a lot of youth annoyance calls go up. Three, when you actually go out and do street work and engage with these young people, the claim is because there's nothing to do. So it's a lack of structure. And in my experience, we used to run a drop-in for 12 to 18 year olds at the Disc. I'm not sure if you're familiar with Dundee, but the Disc has got like a full football AstroTurf, and we put 4 pitches, 4 like 5 aside, 6 aside football pitches. We were getting between 80 and 100 kids coming along on a Friday night between 8 o'clock and 10 o'clock. Now, the problem then started that when we finished at 10 o'clock and there's this army of young people going back to their homes, youth annoyance calls then rocket again. So if you go work in partnership with the police, you can get the analytics team and they can show you where they can, like a heat map of youth annoyance calls. So people that phone in and there's whatever happening outside, or there's a group of people, and put the phone for the police or community safety wardens to go out and combat. What we had to then do was educate the surrounding community that there's actually a drop-in on. So there's nothing bad happening. The 80 to 100 young people you see dispersing are actually all going home. They've been engaged in something positive. But if you don't have the awareness and understanding or knowledge of what's happened, old granny looking out the window sees big squad of people, oh Christ, something's bad is happening. So it's the perception again of perception and understanding. But yeah, definitely with young people more in particular, we're about to go up to some abandoned warehouse and set wheelie bins on fire. A young person can now have that out that, nah, I'm going to go and have a game of football. To say that instead of, I don't want to set bins on fire, you're bad, I don't want to hang about with you, that forms a clash and a kind of coming together of two peers. Whereas using the excuse of going to play football, you don't want to come play football, it's almost the carrot and a get out of jail free, and it's almost a mum will go and have a game. So it's an easy out for people without looking like, oh, I don't want to go drinking, or what are you a pap? So all this kind of goading and peer pressure becomes a wee bit less. So
yeah, I mean peer pressure. If you're young and you don't drink, you're like they kind of like
you're nailing
you, and then you can say, I have to be healthy to play a football game.
Yeah, you're nailing. Scotland would have a lot more professional footballers if it wasn't for alcohol, peer groups, drugs, and women. Because we would have people that would stick to a structure more. So instead of hitting 15, 16 and then hitting this culture of it's Friday, we need to go and get drunk and hang about the shops and wander the streets, then if you didn't have that culture, you'd have a lot more people actually being a lot fitter, a lot healthier, or more focused on, I want to be a football player and this is what I need to do, these are the sacrifices I need to make. Again, and we use this when we're adults, a lot of people say, what lifestyle a football player's got. It's easy to say that for your chair, but you don't see what every footballer that's made it didn't get involved in this, had to make these hard decisions of not going out and spending time with their pals. Maybe had arguments with mum, dad or whoever was at home, the fact that they weren't allowed out because they had a football match the next day, but let us out because I want to go with my pals. These are all sacrifices. I mean, how you eat, what you do in the week, the amount of exercise you do, the focus and the structure and the activities you need to build in your week to become a football player. So it's very easy to say loads of wages, what a lifestyle. You had to work pretty damn hard to get there, and a lot of sacrifices. So educating people on these type of sacrifices. And do you want to be a football player? Really? Do you want to go work out every single day, 5-6 days a week, eating right, not able to have that McDonald's, not able to have that beer at the weekend? Do you want to do that? Like, could you do that? So it's, again, perceptions. So perceptions, I love working with perceptions and how people think one thing is something, because more times than not, they've got it wrong. Because from the other side of the fence, here's the counter argument type of thing. So yeah.
I still want to go back to one point, because I was quite shocked about the free drugs. You're a person, you want to change, you're doing something positive, and then your friends give you free drugs to. I mean, it psychologically makes sense, because they don't want to. They're scared. They don't want to lose you, so they want to pull. But they're really holding you back. So I'm really shocked by.
So one of for most recovery, in my experience, one of the main and toughest things to do is you have to change your immediate social circle, and that immediate social circle is usually because you have friends in there that are using. If you're friends with basketball, you play basketball type of thing. So to go away from that, but then, so it's the psychology of, to us be in a group and have one friend say, I don't want to hang about you anymore, or to actively stay away from you. You then get that offended way where you're like, oh, I thought you were a friend type of thing, blah blah blah. Now this friend's sitting there going, I'm your friend, I just can't hang about with you as much because I want to get clean. Well, what do you want to get clean for? So it's this whole, it's almost like a flipping soap opera. But the quote unquote that I'd had from one of the guys that we supported was, he has never been offered so many free kind of stuff so regularly just to get him back in there. But if you're using, it's tooth and nail and pay for everything, like what have you got for trading type of thing. So I don't know, that might have been a very unique kind of example I was given, but generally the experience I have is when people are trying to move away from it, the hardest thing is you will usually get one of the first steps, you'll get offered something almost for nothing.
But I mean, think about like personal experiences. your friends want to go out want to get drunk on a Friday night, and you say like, oh, today I just drink
Well,
one
if you
beer.
transferred it to alcohol, you're right. It's
so why? I mean, I think for drugs,
the same.
definitely can work the same, because